Welcome back to Earl Knows It All. I'm your host, Earl. And first and foremost, before I do anything, I got to give a very special birthday shout out to two big time special guys in my life. My pops, of course, just celebrated a birthday over the weekend. And my son, my ace boom coon, my homie, my road dog, is celebrating a birthday today as well. So happy birthday to you guys, man. I love y'all. Of course, we're going to do what we do. Now let's get right into it, man. This weekend, like I said, was one of the great times of the year for me. I'm a huge basketball fan, as you may know if you've been checking out this show or checking out some of the clips that I've produced so far. And man, this was like, well, let me say this: it was an uneven weekend, man. It started off kind of rough with the first couple games, and picked up late Saturday night. And of course, like I said, I got a couple dogs in the fight. I'm a Lakers fan and a Hawks fan by default, just because I'm an Atlanta native and live in Atlanta. But they make it hard, man. But yeah, this weekend was great, man. You had the conclusion of the play-in games on Friday to kind of kick things off. So after DeMar DeRozan and the after DeMar DeRozan and the Chicago Bulls vanquished the Toronto Raptors with the help of his daughter DR DeRozan and the Squeaks and Squeals. They flew down to Miami on Friday to take on the Miami Heat, and the Heat look like a totally different team. They take care of business. They vanquish the Bulls, man. They go out there and, like I said, handle their business. And Max Strus goes crazy in that game. Two guys put up 30 in the game for the Heat, and the Heat clinched the AFC in the East. Shortly thereafter, on Friday night, you got the Timberwolves hosting the OKC Thunder, and they were just too much for the Thunder. Thunder's a young team. Good story, great story. They were supposed to be one of the teams that were going to maybe tanking for Wembanyama, but they actually make it into the play-in. So they kind of got the best of both worlds. They get to play in, get some experience, and then they get back into the lottery after getting beaten by the Timberwolves. So that's the way that played out. That allowed the Timberwolves to clinch the eighth seed. And I just want to top some loose ends of that. They took on Denver this weekend. So the first game that we got was on Saturday at 1 p.m. Tip off, and Mikal Bridges came out looking good early on, but it was too much Embiid, too much James Harden, man. Philly, as you kind of suspect, kind of took on that series and said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to handle our business in this, man, and get rid of you guys quick." And let me see what the actual final score was on that game. And so that the final score was 121-101. So Philly handled their business pretty easily. And that brings us to our next game, man. My Atlanta Hawks, right? After a dominating performance against Miami, killing them on the boards, looking great. They look like a totally different team. Look shell shocked against Boston. I put up my I hate Boston plea and clip, and got some feedback from Jay King as well on Twitter, kind of joking around with him on that. Some of the Boston media people who just seem to hate on Atlanta all the time, but they were right, man. So far, anyway. So far, they were right. Hawks were down by as many as 30 points at halftime, man. It's unreal in a playoff game to be down by that much. It's unacceptable, actually, in my opinion. But the Hawks are gonna do what they do, man. Unfortunately, they come up short very much so. They made a run towards the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter. The bench actually has been pretty good, much like they were against Miami in that play-in game. Came in, Bogey started to knock down some threes. I think the Hawks missed their first 19 threes or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, or definitely 13, somewhere in there. But anyway, they cut it to 12, but Boston knocked down a couple more threes and ended up winning the game 112-99. And a lot of people are thinking that series looks like a sweep. I think when Atlanta gets home, they'll probably maybe take one or two, But again, like I said, I'll never pick Boston because I hate Boston. So I'm still around with y'all Hawks. Make me proud, man. The third game, and this is where things start to get exciting, man. You got the New York Knicks, the franchise that gets more credit for doing nothing. But they got a squad, man. They picked up Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson he's a guy, man. He is a guy. You got to respect what Jalen Brunson does. He had a great game, phenomenal game, as the Knicks win that game 101-97. Him and Donovan Mitchell going back and forth was extremely exciting, man. Josh Hart, the Villanova guys, man. You got guys who won a couple national championships, and you saw Mikal Bridges in that first game. He didn't look afraid at the moment, even though he's going to need some help with Brooklyn. And then Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, man, both guys show up big. Julius Randle returned. He put up 19 and 10. They just out physical Cleveland. I think this is a series. Everybody's kind of said this is a series they're looking forward to in the East. It's a series that will probably, in my opinion, go the deepest in the East, 6 or 7 maybe. But it's kind of a toss-up still. Donovan Mitchell had a heck of a game, man. He's one of the best all-time scorers in playoff history. I think he's has the 7th highest scoring average in playoff history in the NBA, which it's crazy. But you remember, like I said, him in the bubble going crazy, and then even before that, taking on Russ and OKC and PG and getting rid of those guys in the first round, and battling against James Harden and those guys in the playoffs as well. So Jalen Brunson finished with 27 points in that game. Josh Hart had 17 and 10. Julius Randle gave you 19 and 10 in that one. And Donovan Mitchell, 38 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. But it looks like I won't say the moment was too big for the rest of the Cavs, but they're a young team. They haven't been here, man. And the thing that everyone kind of knew was going to be the problem, and still looks like it's a problem, and every team would love to have some productive wings, but I think their wing, their 3-spot, man, they kind of got everything else figured out, but Okoro didn't give them much. They also had Chetty Osman out there from the famed Cleveland LeBron days. He was out there as well. So those guys don't give you too much, though, man. That's the only thing. So that was game 3 on Saturday, and then the series that we all deserve, man. Some real fun up and down basketball. The world champion Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, Chef Curry. He's mean with it. He's nice with it, whatever you want to call him, man. He's a bad man, but it's the swipe of the fox, man. If you don't know this guy, of course, nobody watches Sacramento Kings games, but I became a De'Aaron Fox fan back in his days in Kentucky, or his day, since he stayed 1 year. He's a one and done guy. Him and another one of his teammates, Malik Monk, who was on that team with him, who was one of the top players in the country as well. And Bam Adebayo also was on that team. But those guys, I remember when there was a matchup in this maybe Sweet 16 or Elite 8, may have been Sweet 16, I think, that they beat UCLA. Lonzo Ball had all the hype in the world. LeVar Ball was there on the sideline. Everybody was looking forward to this matchup, talking about the top pick possible. Lonzo Ball and all the hype he's had, and De'Aaron Fox cooked him in that game. He was giving him the business. And much like that moment, how he kind of stood up for that moment, De'Aaron Fox is in his 6th year, I think, in the league now, man. He's been waiting for this moment, and he finally, people said they shouldn't have traded Halliburton. They should have, traded De'Aaron Fox. Or people crapped on him. I gave Amin El Hassan a little bit of crap on Twitter as well, because I remember back him saying Ja Morant is who De'Aaron Fox thinks he is. De'Aaron Fox has been taking notes, man. He was waiting for this moment, and he puts up the 2nd most points in a playoff debut in NBA history, only trailing Luka Doncic, who I think put up 42 in his first playoff game. He put up 38 points in that game. He was guarding and running, chasing Steph Curry around the whole time, and still was able to put up 38. Malik Monk dropped 32, and the Kings, man, like the beam. I should have put my special effect up there, man. Like the beam, the Kings end up winning that game, 126-123. This one was back and forth. I think this series, I actually think the Kings, I'd rather see the Lakers because I'm a Laker fan, and the Warriors just for nostalgia purposes, LeBron and Steph, let's see it one more time. But the Kings are a fun, exciting team. And you got to think, man, the Kings ran out there with Sabonis. Sabonis didn't even have a good game. They didn't play their best game, man. De'Aaron Fox put up 28 in the second half, like I said, or 29 in the second half. He started off slow. And Malik Monk, the X factor, man. Malik Monk was great in that game. When you got a guy who can drop 32 off the bench, and he's done this throughout the season, man. Like, I know Emmanuel Quickly and Brogdon. I think I forgot who the other person was who's up for 6th man of the year, but you start looking at a guy like that. Some of these benches that have so many guys on it and they're deep and kind of throw them into waves, they can be real effective, man. And yeah, the Kings, Kevin Huerter didn't even play a good game. He struggled a little bit as well. So you got to think they're up 1-0 in this series, and they're the 3 seed. Nobody's giving them respect, so they did what they were supposed to do. Essentially, they got home court advantage, supposed to protect home court. The old adage is it's not a series until someone wins on the other team's court. So, and typically, if the home team won the first 2 and they win the 3rd game, the road team, it's not a series anyway because they're about to get swept. But yeah, we'll see. That'll be a fun series, man, all the way through. That kind of wraps up what happened on Saturday night, and we're gonna get into the Sunday games. And injury played a big role in a lot of these games on Sunday. It sucks. Cut the injuries off, man. Change the slide to no injuries on this playoff season, man. But we'll be right back with more.